And maybe they're waiting for that other card. They had communism. They have terrorism, the boogeyman. The next one is going to be a celestial object making our way. And the last card, according to Werner von Braun, will be the alien invasion, where they're going to unite all the militaries of the world. But when it happens, don't believe it.
Skies are clearing up.
And as for the aliens, it's similar to what I was saying about getting a whistleblower to give you the information so that you'll believe the propaganda more. They have a supposed flying saucer crash, and then they bring out the first newsreel that says that it was people saw the flying saucer crash and alien bodies recovered. Whoa! Then the next day they cover it up and they say it was a weather balloon. Sorry about that. We misreported. And so the thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis result, the Hegelian dialectic, right. They've given you both sides here. The synthesis result they want is that you actually believe that there were aliens, even though now you have no evidence of it whatsoever. And they've even come out and come against it, but first they came out for it. And then after that, then they bring out more whistleblowers, more hearsay, no physical evidence, but more people with supposed inside information to tell you that, yeah, it was true. Meanwhile, the official channels continue denying it. And that gives this mystery that Adam Weishaupt talked about. When you want to inculcate someone into a new worldview, you have to shroud it in mystery so that they always want a little bit more. And that's what they've done with aliens. They've turned it into this insatiable mystery and giving us little bite-sized pieces from their supposed insiders, all the while the official establishment denying it, so that we think that it's this counterculture truth that's seeping through the cracks, and we want to be part of knowing about it. And so that's what aliens have been for the past 100 years almost. UFOs, there's military craft that look like flying saucers from the bottom, but look like a plane from the top. They want that idea fresh in your mind so that when they unleash their Project Bluebeam, is a holographic display that they can make. And if you see Chinese floating cities, Google that. They've already unveiled this technology where they can make you believe that there is whatever they want in the sky through holographic technology. And they have another technology where they can shoot like sonar into your ears so that you're hearing as though someone's voice is talking to you inside your head. Not in a speaker form, but coming directly inside your brain. They've used these for advertisements in New York City recently.
Yeah, they already have that in certain grocery stores where you're walking by an aisle, nobody can hear it, but the moment you pass through a certain box of Cheerios, if you will, you hear a voice saying, buy this to be healthy or what have you. And they have it from top of buildings also, where you're walking by a certain corner in a street where you hear something but nobody else can. So the technology is there. But I think just like the Who Pinball Wizard song, that deaf, dumb, and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. They want us deaf, dumb, and blind and playing video games, watching sports, being completely disconnected and distracted from the reality of all of this.
Kristen, look up!
Surrender 5G skeptics is what it's gonna say. Look at that. There's jets drawing in the fucking sky. Uh-oh, here they go. That is the shit.
see what the fuck they're writing. It says surrender 5G.
Surrender 5G skeptics.
What does that mean?
It means if you don't believe, give it up, because this is what 5G is doing.
They're still writing stuff. Hashtag. This is cool.
I think it's going to say putting 5G to work again. That's a big one that time. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
This is the coolest shit ever.
That was dope. CES 2020, Las Vegas.
They're really pushing into this science fiction worldview that they've been indoctrinating us into. I think we're close to the next step.
I think so.
And
Absolutely.
the next step will be the disclosure, whatever you call it, of aliens, and they're going to unleash, be it a holographic or technological or genetic hybridization type thing, something that is going to make the populace believe these aliens are real and that we need to unite to either welcome or fight them. And that's going to be the next step in this huge indoctrination. And man, once we're there, just think how difficult it's going to be to get people out of this.
I've said this from day one, Eric. This is season 8. From day one, I said, don't ever expect real disclosure coming from the powers that be, from the government, because that's not going to be real. It's going to be another false flag event. This time, the mother of all false flag events, uniting the militaries of the world, creating one world government. And guess what, folks? It's going to be a lie, and you're going to be subjugated. If you think you're not a slave now, wait until this happens. But last questions about the dinosaur hoax. We never saw anyone talk about dinosaurs. Wasn't it until the 1840s when we started talking about this?
That's right. The person that coined the phrase dinosauria, the terminology for what these things supposedly are, was a knighted man. What's his name? Sir Richard Adams in 1842. And
Owen?
Got Richard Owen. Is that right? Richard Owens. Yeah. And you didn't have all the cultures and around the world before this time. Nobody's making these dinosaur discoveries that were supposedly found shortly thereafter. But once this idea came up that there was dinosaurs and that these were the missing link that they had in Darwinian evolution, it just suddenly appears, and appears over and over again, as consistently done so for the past 150 years, to the point that now we've got huge museums full of fake bones propagandizing the idea that these things have actually existed, when if they did, they should have been known to all cultures throughout all civilization forever, and we should be tripping over them and digging them up ourselves, not just having them behind lock key from vested, interested parties, and only since the idea of evolution was created. That points to a hoax, and many of these supposed dinosaurs have actually been proven to be hoax. Two of the guys that created most of the dinosaurs that we know today, Edward Drinker Cope and what's his name? Oswald Marsh, something along these lines. Were said to have discovered hundreds of species of dinosaurs and hundreds of bones, yet even in their time, many hundreds of their supposed discoveries were outed as frauds, and only a minority of the supposed discoveries that these two men made are still said to be true, even though the majority of the supposed dinosaur finds, including the very first ones that were ever made, have been proven to be false. The very first dinosaur that came out, it's called a Trachodon, which means a toothosaurus, and all they found was 3 teeth. They found 3 unidentified teeth, and this is what they based the entire animal on. And since then, it hasn't gotten much better. The supposed physical evidence that they're building these dinosaurs off are something like a thigh bone and an arm bone, and they don't know what it is, and then they've reconstructed the skull, the skin, you name it, the whole thing. They've created all these things for kids to make them think that they know exactly what these creatures look like. Yet it's been exposed over and over again that the bones of a brontosaurus's neck strangely coincide with the bones of a giraffe, and the bones of some of these deep sea dinosaurs strangely look exactly like the bones of a blue whale. And so a lot of what they've even admitted to doing, some of these people, is that they're mixing bones of actual animals that existed and creating these fake dinosaurs in structures that couldn't possibly exist. A lot of the exhibits have to use wires to hold up the heads and the tails and the arms and everything because they would be completely crushed under their own weight. The Tyrannosaurus rex, for instance, the weight of all of its mass wouldn't be able to hold on its tiny little knee joints, and the way that it's forward, the front part of its body doesn't counteract the tail. It's way heavier than the tail would be, and so they wouldn't be able to physically move around that way. The idea that these kind of giant, weird, moving beings could exist at all has been questioned. So they're giving us, in science fiction, to make us believe these things. Just like they give us Star Trek and Star Wars, then they give you NASA. Well, they give you The Land Before Time, Jurassic Park, and then they say, oh, by the way, it's all real. Believe that science fiction stuff.
Well, we're told that the Earth was much smaller and gravity was less powerful, and that's why these very heavy creatures could inhabit the Earth at that time. But what about, they keep bringing these alleged bones out, but they never bring out, and as a matter of fact, I've heard that the Smithsonian has removed any evidence directed at giants. And even years ago, I keep talking about this all the time, years ago, one of our listeners, his father lives in Iran, and at the time there was an earthquake in Iran in the south part, I believe it was, and a whole city was on earth, almost like, a city, and they started seeing these bones, and they found out that there were 9 feet tall women. And nobody wants to talk about this ever. Giants walking the earth.
Right. This is the reality that's being covered up. A lot of these actual big bones certainly could be from giants, and people have sent giant skeletons to the Smithsonian and National Geographic only to have them completely disappear.
Yep.
There's even been accounts from Smithsonian employees saying they've seen them dumping these bones into the ocean to get rid of them. So to this day, there's been hundreds and hundreds of accounts of human giant skeletons being dug up all over the world for thousands of years, and there is physical evidence still in existence of these things, just like there isn't of dinosaurs. Dinosaurs haven't been discovered for thousands of years, and you can't see dinosaur bones. They won't let you see them, whereas these giant bones do exist, but there's a concentrated effort to cover this up. And anyone that gives their giant bones to Smithsonian or whatever finds them gone. If you call up the Smithsonian today, they'll say that they have never found a human giant skeleton and that such a thing doesn't exist. Now, again, this is huge. And I believe this to be part of what the dinosaur thing is covering up, is that there is a legitimate giant human being phenomenon, so that there would be giant bones of unknown origin. And then when they find them, an easy way to cover it up is to say that it's this dinosaur, and that fits their little evolution gap that they've been looking for. But in reality, we have midgets like hobbits, we have giants like the orcs, and we have us humans in the middle here. The world is much like the Middle Ages, the Lord of the Rings, in the sense that there really are these different size of people that have been created.
The Homo florescensis in Indonesia.
Giant human beings still exist. There are 8 and 9, almost 9 feet tall people that still exist now. And there's, like I said, there's accounts of living giant beings as soon as only 500 years ago, when the Spanish explorers first came to the Americas. They were well known to the Native Americans and Mexicans. They have many accounts. All over America, there's been burial mounds of skeletons dug up, and you can see newspaper articles from the 1800s, early 1900s, up until modern day, where they're finding these giant skeletons, but then when you look for them in a museum or somewhere shortly after, they're gone. These things are swept under the carpet as quickly as they're found, but if you look into them, there's plenty of evidence for giant human beings having existed, unlike the spacious evidence for supposed dinosaurs ever having existed.
They don't want us to know our real history, because once we know our past, we know who we are and we know our future. Whether we live on a flat earth or not, I'm come to the conclusion that we live on a Truman Show style reality. We accept, not we, but most people accept the reality of the world which we are presented. It's as simple as that. Eric Dubay, once again, another great show. How can people get in touch with your work? Buy your books?
Atlanteanconspiracy.com. I'm Eric Dubay on YouTube, and ifers.ace.st is the International Flat Earth Research Society Forum, not to be confused with the Flat Earth Society, which is the controlled opposition group that's been around for a long time, making you think flat Earth is ridiculous. But come over to the International Flat Earth Research Society, and you'll see that it's actually the spinning ball Earth that's ridiculous.
Eric Dubay, once again, thank you so much for being part of Veritas, and let's hope to have you back next year again.
Great. Thanks, Mel.
And have a great day.
You too, Mel.
Take care. Bye-bye.